Alright, so in this video we're going to discuss some of the topics that we're going to do for our presentations. So the focus here for me is teenage pregnancy, which is a very important topic that students should know about it. So teen pregnancy, I went into Google, I typed in teen pregnancy, and I found several websites. Some of these websites I opened already, but the whole point here is that you are doing research. Now there's a paper here, Adolescent Pregnancy Outcomes and Risk Factors. This website explains what is adolescent pregnancy. This other website that I opened, it has that teenage pregnancy is also called adolescent pregnancy. So this is one of the first things that I'm going to put in the speech that I'm going to give. It has their introduction to presentation, the opening. So the layout that I have for my speech has three things. Introduction, it then has my ideas and the main body of the speech. And then I have a conclusion or powerful conclusion that I wrote there. So for me, I'm going to put in some of the information. Teenage pregnancy is also called adolescent pregnancy. The thing about doing research is you cannot just look up things and save things. You have to read what you opened. So I'm going to open this document and then we will go from there. So this paper, one of the major social and public health problems is adolescent pregnancy. So from what they're saying, this is a problem. Adolescent pregnancy is strongly associated to less favorable results for both the mother and newborn. So simply put, if you get pregnant as a teen, if you get pregnant as an adolescent, you can encounter problems for your baby and you can encounter problems for yourself. So what I'm going to put here, since I have some information now, I'm just going to show you the different types of information that we can gather, the different sources, several websites. What I do is I can read through and I can get different information for the different headings. But what I'm going to do here now, I want to see information in different forms. So when I go to images, what do some of the images tell me about teenage or adolescent pregnancy? So it has here the impact of teen pregnancy on education. So from what they're saying, adolescent pregnancy has an impact on education. Right? So let me go to this here. There's an image here. Now the good thing about using images or some images is that they give you direct information on the topic. It depends though on where the information comes from, what are the causes, what are the effects and the risks, and teenage pregnancy prevention. So all of this is information that I can use. Let me go back now to my speech. Now some of the points that I have here are layouts for my speech. How am I going to introduce my speech? How am I going to open my speech? I can open my speech with teenage pregnancy is also called adolescent pregnancy, but that is going to sound quite boring. Or maybe I can ask a question. Sometimes asking a question gets your audience to focus on you. Then sometimes you making a statement can also get your audience to focus on you. In other cases, you can also say, well, for your question, you can ask, do you know someone who had a baby as a teenager? And when we ask this question, what we cause persons to do is we cause persons to pay attention to what we're saying. We cause persons to focus on what we're saying. Close the eyes and put your head on your desk. We have 5 minutes. Now, the second option that I'm going to use is making a statement. I can make a statement by saying, teenage pregnancy Alright, so we go into lines now. Shut up and put your head on the desk. Everyone. So the statement that I'm making here is teenage pregnancy is a problem. And when we think of telling somebody that something is a problem, the next question may be for whom, or for whom is it a problem. Regardless, how we start our presentation is going to be important. So I can use the two of these methods here. Now the next factor that I need to focus on, Azara, go over that side, go over there. The next thing that I have to focus in on is what type of speech is this? Is this an informative speech or is this a persuasive speech? So if it's a persuasive speech, I may just want to tell people or raise awareness about this problem. If it's a persuasive speech, I may have a stance. So you can see here that when I made the statement, teenage pregnancy is a problem, that's more persuasive because I'm trying to get persons to see that this is a problem. Whereas if I'm giving the informative speech, I may just give them information on what this is about. Alright, so that is some of my introduction. Your introduction should provide more information than this. Now I'm going to go to a different site. Put your head on the desk. That is to everyone. So I opened a couple sites here that have how to write a speech in some simple steps. So most persons say you do an introduction. Most persons say you do an introduction to the presentation. And then persons go into what you're going to tell them. The point that I'm showing you this is there are different methods you can use. So for this, there's a body, but I am not going to use this one. Persons are saying you have a hook, something that draws the attention of the persons, and then you may have or you may tell a story. That's one option. The other option here from the research done for the layout of your speech, 4 simple tips. Your audience, who are you speaking to? For you, you are speaking to students. So you need to cater your language to the students that you're going to speak to. Give them information that is relevant to them. Teenage pregnancy, we're talking about teens. Are you a teenager? The answer is yes. So this is relevant for you, or this is relevant to you. Organizing your ideas. Now, this is what we'll focus on now, and the video is going to wrap up shortly. The ideas come in to the points in your speech. So in this speech, I want to make roughly 4 points. So I'm going to go back here. When I take a look at teenage pregnancy, what is it? I think that I will probably talk about what is it. I could either do that in the introduction, or I could do that here in point 1. What is teenage pregnancy? So for this, I am telling the persons, informing them of what it is. Now for the second thing, there was an image that I opened up that had good information. It had effects. It had causes, effects, and then prevention. So I'm going to look at the causes. Peer pressure, dysfunctional family, exposure to censored material, lack of access to education. So I think for my second point, I will talk about the causes of teenage pregnancy. Okay? And then my third point, as I said, I'm using some information from this picture because as we research, more information can help inform your topic. Effects and risks. I like that. So risks associated with teenage pregnancy. And then the last thing will be prevention. Now that I have these subtopics or these subheadings, I need to find information on each of these to speak about as I go through my speech. What is teenage pregnancy? We go here. transition from adulthood, the rate of teenage pregnancy has recently affected. Young maternal age is more likely a marker. Poor, so these are causes. So I can get some of this information. Are also problems. These factors increase the risk of STIs, prenatal care. For girls, early pregnancies can have social consequences such as lower status in the household, stigmatization, abuse. Early pregnancy can hinder health. Many teenage. Alright, so this is an excellent paragraph here that highlights the risk associated with it. Now, I am not just copying the information here, but you're putting the information here as you're researching so that you can read and save it. Going over here, summary. Mothers of teenage pregnancies carry health risks. So I'm just going to do 2 more. Teenage pregnancy is when, so here is the definition that we have. So as I said, for the sake of the video, it's not going to be very long, but this is the information that we're finding. Now I'm going to focus on prevention as the last thing that I'm going to do for this video. Alright, so as we look into this, remember I said you could look at pictures, you could look at PDFs. So PDFs are studies that persons have done. Reducing teenage pregnancy. So more than likely, this is a work that was prepared by persons. The consequences of adolescence are serious. Sex education can prevent. So this is saying that sex education is one thing that can prevent it. So what I would do is I read up here, what is sex education about? And I'm just going to put 1 more, and then we'll stop. Sex education is a success. The media has an important role. Contraception, easy access, reduces confidentially attacked teens. So if you realize there's a lot of reading that is involved in researching your speech. Pregnancy prevention programs. No. Once we have gathered the information, you put more information here. You explain and you write what it is that you're going to talk about. Write how you're going to end the speech. And once you have done those things, you put in your topic and you share the document to me. So this is what you're doing for your speech, and this is going to be due next class, next Tuesday, on your topic, your HFLE topic.